Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. So I know that you are like me. You never ever fall for the hype. In fact, you hate the hype. You never feed into the hype machine. We are alike, you and I. Yeah, for sure. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at 5 different hype beast fragrances that were hyped heavily, whether on YouTube or, forums, Facebook, whatever. So let's jump into it. Let's tackle some hype beasts. Let's get things kicked off with a fragrance that got a whole bunch of hype, I feel like, because it was really different from what everybody else is doing. And that fragrance is Toy Boy from Moschino. It's a little teddy bear with a hat. I think it's a hat. So this one obviously stands way apart from what the vast majority, not the vast majority, every other designer fragrance house is doing. Because right now, it's all caramel or toffee or heavy tonka. It's been that for a while. Or blue fragrances. And then Moschino comes out with this. It's got pink pepper, vetiver, cashmere, rose, and magnolia as some of the notes in the fragrance. It is marketed toward men as a man's fragrance, but most people would probably tell you, at least if they're assigning genders to a fragrance, that it's unisex, maybe even leaning a little bit feminine. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about assigning genders to fragrances. Basically, you can boil it down to just, do you like it? Then wear it. I myself don't really give a crap if something is made for women or men or it's unisex. If I like the way it smells and I think that I can pull it off, I'm gonna pull it off. Probably successfully, maybe with confidence. So yeah, that one came out and man, people were just like, wait a second, that's not a blue fragrance. Plus it comes in that bottle, which is completely black, doesn't really match up super well with how the fragrance smells, but because it was so different, I feel people just really loved it, and it didn't hurt that the quality of the fragrance is actually really high also. In fact, I'm smelling it right now. I still think it smells freaking great. The hype on that one has died down a little bit. I mean, that's how things go, ebbs and flows of hype, but it still stands alone doing its own thing, and I still really respect it for that. Next up, a fragrance that if you're newer to the fragrance community, you would probably not even realize that it was hyped that heavily at one point. And I've talked about this in the past a couple times. It's 24 Gold from Scent Story. It's got oud, vanilla, amber, and sandalwood as some of the notes in the fragrance. And yes, 24 is based off the old TV show with Kiefer Sutherland. Best known from his sick 80s film, The Lost Boys. Come on, give it up. If you've not seen The Lost Boys, get on that. What are you doing? Come on. But yeah, this was based off 24, which is a show, I believe, about a government agent who has to stop something bad from happening in 24 hours. Is that right? I've actually never watched it. Something bad will happen unless you do stuff to stop that bad thing from happening. And this was hyped so much that basically Scent Story just said, hey man, we're gonna ride this 24 train until the end of time. They had so many fragrances come out that were 24 whatever, flanker after flanker after flanker. And did they have anything to do with the TV show? No. It makes no sense at all. Truthfully, it never made sense. Even with the first fragrance, it was like, what? Did you spam emails to like everything that ever existed? Movies, television shows, cartoons, music. And you were like, hey, can we please license that for a fragrance? We got a great idea for one, trust us. And then 24, they were like, yeah, you can have that license, whatever. And they were like, sick. we're off to the races. It makes no sense. And yet they built an entire universe of 24 fragrances, chiefly off this one. Yeah, there were some that came out before this, but they didn't really take off. And when this one did, it was on like Donkey Kong. It's very sweet. It can be a little bit unisex. It's similar to Rogba from Lattafa Perfumes. At one point in time, this stuff was getting marked up heavily online. People were asking a bunch for it. It was like gold. Yeah, like this. People were hoarding it. Nowadays, the hype has died down. You can pick it up from like Fragrance X for not that much. Fragrance is still really nice. It's got great longevity, great projection. It is just a very sweet, oud, ambery scent. And don't spray too much of it on or people will think a cat peed on your leg. But as long as you don't spray it on too much and you don't get that cat pee accord going, you're gravy. It smells nice. Trust me, like it does. It smells good. Up next, Artisan Pure from John Varvatos. Now, this fragrance brand has a lot of scents that are really, really good, especially at their old discounter prices, which were lower than they are now. This one's got clementine, petitgrain, ginger, some woods, and additional citrus. It is a killer summertime fragrance. Great for daytime use, great for casual use, great in the office as well. Big compliment puller, enormously versatile. And that one, for at least a brief moment in time, really helped kickstart John Varvatos again, at least in the fragrance community. Now, Varvatos Vintage is a great fragrance. That is killer for fall. I love it. Love it. And they had a bunch of fragrances that were mainly for spring and summertime use, stuff like Artisan or Artisan Blue or Artisan Aqua, but none of those really popped off until this one. Once this came out, pretty much everybody was hyping it. For a good reason. Stuff smells great, and when you can find it from discounters for a good price, it is a great deal, especially when you consider it comes in a 4.2 ounce bottle, so you get a little more extra juice. Let's go from one summertime scent to another. Next up, let's do this one. Invictus Aqua from Paco Rabanne. This is the original 2016 release. The reason it says Aqua right here is because this was a tester bottle. The normal release does not say Aqua right here if you buy it just in the normal presentation, but if you get a tester, it does. Yuzu, seawater, ambergris, and grapefruit. This one really helped a lot of people come around on the Invictus line because the original Paco Rabanne Invictus came out and didn't get a whole bunch of love from people in the community, you could say. Now, your average everyday person, for the most part, thinks Invictus smells awesome, despite the tacky bottle. So to an extent, Invictus loved by the masses, but hated by hardcore fragrance people. Then Invictus Aqua came out and it just kind of smoothed everything out and gave you this sweet, yes, sweet, but still approachable, not too sweet aquatic scent. Big time compliment puller. That one took off and everybody bought the heck out of it. Paco Rabanne, in their infinite wisdom, saw everybody buying the limited edition of Invictus Aqua and they were like, yeah, keep it limited, axe it, kill that stuff. Yes. They just thought to themselves, make money. Stupid. Discontinue. And then they thought about it and they said, well, you know, we're having a lot of people ask us for Invictus Aqua. And if you'll recall, we discontinued it. So what should we do? Big brain idea. We will bring it back. We will change the bottle and then we'll also change the fragrance. Yeah, great idea. Genius. So as you can see, like I said, they changed the bottle. Frankly, like the old one more, and they messed around with the fragrance. Yeah, can't tell you exactly why. I don't know if they thought maybe they could improve it, or maybe they thought they could shave the cost down a little bit and keep the fragrance pretty close, and people would be happy because they were bringing it back. But they brought this out, tried to appease the masses by saying, "Here, we listen to you. Invictus Aqua, it's back." And then people actually just got angry. People got angry. They weren't happy. They were just like, how could you do this? How could you? You killed this, you took this from me. And then you tell me you're bringing it back and you give me this, which is not the exact same. So people got up in arms about it, but Invictus Aqua still does the same stuff that the old one did in the sense that it's a really people-pleasing, easy-to-wear aquatic scent with good amount of sweetness. But I think it goes to show you the amount of hype that the original Invictus Aqua got, that when it was discontinued, People freaked out to the point that Paco Rabanne brought it back as a worse version of itself. Last but not least, we've got one from Chanel, and it is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This one has tonka, mandarin orange, mint musk, and woods as some of the notes in the fragrance, and it follows up the massively successful Allure Homme Sport. And this one, for a lot of people, just takes what Allure Homme Sport does well and amplifies it. So again, you do have a good amount of sweetness in here. You got a little bit of that creaminess from the tonka, which is going to be one of the main notes that you pick up in the scent. And then in the opening, you've got this great freshness from the mint and the mandarin orange that really captures your attention as soon as you spray it on. Performance is very good. The versatility is through the roof, and the compliment factor is massive. And when you take all those things, combine it together, it makes for a potent hype beast. Also, it doesn't hurt that it's from Chanel and that it, again, follows up Allure Homme Sport, which already, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have worn and loved. Now, you will have the occasional person here or there that says, oh, Extreme, I don't like it. I think it's too, whatever, fill in the blank. It's too sweet. It's too youthful. It's too boring. But it is definitely a hype beast, and for a good reason. Now, like all of these really, you don't hear about it getting talked about as much nowadays as when it was, in its prime, like Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico, man. This is movie reference day. That's what we're doing. So even though this doesn't get talked about like it did in its prime, it still is a fragrance that you can rock pretty much anywhere and people will love it. And that's why it got hyped to begin with. So Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, a great way to end this video on hype beasts. Let me know in the comments which one of these 5 do you remember the most as being just hyped to death, and which one's your favorite? I think dependent on when you got into the fragrance community is which one you will remember getting hyped the most. And there are fragrances from before these that were hyped heavily as well. Things like Chergui, for example, from Serge Lutens. We could go on with fragrances as they began to be hyped. Fragrances from Nasamato. Those things took off like hype when people found out about those. So really, we could probably make like 20 editions of this video. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video.